We're just a few days away from St. Patrick's Day. Many will enjoy corned beef and hash, but why not enjoy some good old Irish stew? Today on the CI Kitchen, sharing a stew recipe is Dish Passionate Cuisine Chef Colleen Hatton. Colleen, it's great to have you here with us.
Thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. Oh my gosh, I have just been smelling this all hour, and it smells so good in here. What is all this stuff?
So we're going to make a very easy vegetarian stew. This is super easy. Like, a lot of folks will eat like a Guinness Irish beef stew.
Yes.
But I also know that, like, you know, as folks are trying to live different lifestyles and have different right. Well, a lot of folks have different requirements, as we were just discussing.
Yes, yes.
You have celiac, so you're gluten intolerant. So we're going to adjust this recipe for you.
Well, thank you.
I know, but it's so fun.
I'm going to keep this in mind and learn and maybe make this again Thursday.
Right. So we're going to kind of take this through on a quick scale.
Okay.
The recipe will be online because there's a few steps that actually require like simmering for 5 minutes or 2 minutes.
Labor of love, yes.
Like, a little more labor of love, but we're going to kind of hop through, and it's all going to go together in the pot, which is really the important part.
I love it. I love it.
Anyway.
What ingredients do we need here?
So what we've got going right now is I've got about 2 tablespoons of my vegetarian stock.
Okay.
Which you can use mushroom stock or vegetable stock, either way. Good to go.
Okay.
You're going to be good. And we're going to add about 3 carrots that I took, and I diced those down.
They look kind of peeled.
They're peeled and sliced and diced.
Okay.
And then we're going to add our mushrooms. And mushrooms is kind of where you're going to get that earthy flavor in this that you would normally get from having beef in your stew. So you definitely don't want to skimp. And baby portobellos or regular portobellos are your best bet for that, because they're going to have that earthier flavor than just a button mushroom would.
Now, will you get that from the stock as well?
Absolutely. You will get that, especially if you're using the mushroom stock.
Okay.
We've got a few other hints in here that are going to help out with that. So we're going to mix all of this stuff together, and you're just going to want to have a little bit of stock in there. And normally you'd saute this down for about 5 or 6 minutes. You want to get your onions translucent, carrots a little softer. But we're going to skip that step because, you know, TV magic.
TV magic. I love it. And I like, too, that you're sneaking in kind of those vegetables. You're like hiding, you're making it taste so good that it's in disguise. I
think so. And honestly, I mean, I'll be fair. We've made this stew a few times, and I don't feel like you're missing meat.
There you go.
You're not. You're really not. So, because it's got all the good umami flavors that you want. So we're going to add the rest of our chicken stock, or vegetable stock, or mushroom stock. Sorry, I did not mean chicken. And we're going to add a little water. We're going to kind of stir all this stuff up. And then if you don't mind helping with this, if you want to throw in, we're going to add in some potatoes.
Okay.
And this was
I don't want this to splash on you here.
That's about 8 medium-sized baby red potatoes.
Okay.
You can do more, like if your family's really into, I know a lot of folks prefer more heavy potatoes than veg. And then we're going to add a few last-minute things to kind of give us some, this is kind of where some more umami is going to come from.
Okay.
We've got a little soy and a little Worcestershire, and these are both gluten-free, which is what we tend to use.
We love that.
So if you want to make this recipe gluten-free, it's super easy. And then we've got a bay leaf and a little bit of garlic.
How do you use a bay leaf?
We're just going to throw it in, and you make sure you pull it out at the end.
Okay. And what kind of flavor will that add?
The bay leaf will also help with the umami, and it'll help bring out all the other herbs, because what we've got here, this is kind of like the important part.
Okay.
So what I did is I took some thyme, fresh oregano, and parsley, and I bunched it all up, and I've got it tied with a little string. And we're going to push this down, and you definitely want to make sure that this is simmering.
So why bunch like that? Just so it just gets the flavor?
It gets the flavor, but you don't have to have all those parts, because at the end of this, I'm just going to pluck that right out, and we're good to go.
Wow, so you don't have all that green stuff in there, but you just have the flavor.
You get the flavor. You can also use cheesecloth if you want.
Okay.
Anything that's going to help keep, because you don't want to necessarily have giant chunks. To be fair, you could, if you wanted to deal with like taking the oregano and the thyme off of the stems and mincing it and adding it to it, you could do that.
That's a lot.
This is really easy.
We'll go the easy route.
By the time you chop up all the vegetables, you're going to be aiming for easy.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to add a little salt and pepper just to kind of start. I'm a firm believer that it's better to add less and keep continually adding as you taste.
I agree with that as well.
So what we're going to do is, this would normally stew. This is a great thing. You can also make this in the crock pot. This is a great 2 or 3 hour recipe, or if you put it on low in the crock pot in the morning, leave. It'll be good to go when you come home. And then the end result.
Ooh, should we save it for the reveal?
Well, we're going to discuss what you want to do if you don't want to make it gluten-free.
Oh, okay, that's perfect.
So I'm just going to make a quick roux. So if you don't want to make it gluten-free, we're going to take a little butter, add some flour and milk.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of make a roux slurry that we would normally add to this.
Okay.
But honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal, because if you cook it long enough, it's going to thicken up. and it's going to reduce down long enough.
Okay, so there's so many different ways to make this, which is the best kind of recipe. You can make it however your family wants it.
You can make it vegan if you totally want to be conscientious and go that route.
It's truly the best type of recipe. Well, we'll have more on this recipe. We'll give you the reveal in just a little bit. You'll find Colleen's recipe on CILiving.tv.